There is a moment when the sunset slips past the red-tiled rooftops of Florence, and the church bells echo across the Arno like a whisper from the past. And you're just sitting there, with a glass of limoncello in hand, the last golden light brushing through your hair, and your heart falls into silence. No more deadlines, no place to be, just you, and an Italy you've never touched, but has always been waiting for you in your dreams. Good evening, dear friend. Tonight, I invite you to step aboard a train not bound by tracks alone, but by memory, wonder, and the hush of night. Close your eyes. Let the gentle hum of the wheels cradle your thoughts. Let the stars outside your window blur into brushstrokes of moonlight. We are about to journey across Italy, not by maps or timetables, but by heart. And tonight, our first stop is a lakeside village cradled in the arms of the mountains, Limone sul Garda. Breathe in softly, and now, let go. You are seated in a cozy train carriage as dusk falls, wrapped in a blanket, a cup of warm tea nestled beside you. Outside, the world is blurring past, a watercolor of hills and fading sunlight. The sound of the tracks hums low, steady, like a lullaby whispered by the earth. The dreamland train glides forward, not rushed, but reverent, savoring every moment, every mile. Your eyes begin to drift as the train slows down. A voice gently calls. We're arriving in Limone. The air shifts. It's cooler now, cleaner. The mountains rise around you like ancient guardians, their reflections mirrored in the glassy surface of Lake Garda. This town is hidden like a secret between stone and water, held still in time. You step off the train, your feet touching cobblestones warmed by a long-forgotten sun. Limone sul Garda greets you not with noise or lights, but with stillness. You notice it first in the flowers. They're everywhere, blossoming from balconies, curling around lampposts, spilling over terraces like soft laughter. The fragrance of lemons lingers in the air, sweet and familiar, like something from your childhood you can't quite name. Until 1932, Limone had no road. Only water touched its shores, only boats carried its people in and out. Maybe that's why it still feels untouched, wrapped in the quiet hush of things that have waited. They say people here live longer than most, that something in their blood, something born from generations of quiet, protects their hearts. Maybe it's the air, maybe it's the silence, or maybe it's the way they love their home. Now you find yourself on a small ferry. It glides slowly across the water like a lullaby with no ending. The lake is deep navy, velvet soft, with shadows that move like dreams beneath the surface. The morning sun, gentle and pale, hangs just above the mountains. A silver breeze tousles your hair. You rest one hand on the rail, the other holding your hat against the wind, and you smile. Others wave from passing boats, tourists, locals, children with ice cream smudged across their cheeks. Someone calls out, "Ciao," and you return the greeting, heart warmed by this tiny connection across the water. Limone comes into view like a painting slowly waking up. The rooftops are terracotta, golden with age. Palm trees line the promenade like sleepy sentinels, their leaves rustling in the breeze. Faded canopies stretch out from lakefront cafes, and somewhere, a bell tolls gently in the tower of a 17th century church. As you step off the boat, you walk barefoot to the nearby beach. The sand is fine and golden, still warm from the morning. Each grain slips between your toes like soft time. You pause at the water's edge, The lake is still, its waves whispering secrets only the wind can hear. You take a deep breath and step in. The water, cool and welcoming, hugs your ankles. It's enough to refresh your whole body. You watch others paddle out, swimmers, paddleboarders, couples lost in the hush of the lake. One man stands gracefully balanced on a board, helping others stay upright with a steady hand and a kind laugh. You watch them as if from another world, one made only of softness and light. Behind you, the town calls gently. You leave the water and walk back across the sand. The flowered walkway greets you again, and this time you notice the sweet floral scent more clearly. It winds around your thoughts like music. You wander through side streets now, quiet, chalky-colored lanes with wrought iron balconies bursting with purple bougainvillea. The doors are heavy, dark brown, medieval. The houses here wear their age like a crown, and everywhere, lemons. On signs, in pots, painted on ceramic tiles with yellow borders that look like sunlight stitched into stone. A gentle breeze carries the scent of citrus to you, bright and clean. You pause before a tall wall that looks almost like a castle. And then, something curious. A grid of stone pillars climbing the hillside, wooden beams stretched between them like ribs in the skeleton of something sacred. A kind woman appears, noticing your curiosity. "Would you like to see the lemon trees?" she asks, her voice like velvet. You follow her through an iron gate. Inside, a garden of lemon trees opens up like a secret told only once. Rows upon rows of leafy branches, heavy with golden fruit. She tells you this is a restored limonaya, once used to shelter lemon crops from winter's touch. The pillars once held wooden panels to shield the trees from wind and snow, ensuring generations could grow the citrus that brought life to Limon. She smiles and offers one more secret. "Before you leave," she says, "you must try the limoncello." You promise her you will, and as you begin your walk back toward the promenade, the sun high above, the lake glittering below, and the town alive with gentle joy, you realize you're not just traveling through Italy, you're remembering something. The quiet joy of belonging, of being still, of coming home. Some cities don't need to try to enchant you. They simply exist, like an old dream returning unexpectedly. Florence is one of those places. You step off the dreamland train just as the golden glow of late afternoon paints everything in soft light. Under this delicate sun, the city seems to smile, not in a rush, not too loud, just quietly beautiful in a timeless way. Every cobblestone feels like it has held centuries of footsteps, of poets, artists, and souls searching for beauty. Your heart settles as you walk down the street. Florence, or Firenze as the locals call it, is not just a city. It's a symphony of light, jasmine, and memory. You pass a quiet square where windows stay open and balconies overflow with green plants and flower pots. The air is scented with freshly baked bread and warm espresso. Everyone moves slowly here. No one hurries, and neither do you. At a modest stone building on a shaded corner, you stop. Inside hides something extraordinary. You push open the heavy wooden door and step into the Accademia Gallery, home to one of the most iconic sculptures in the world. Your footsteps echo along the stone floor. It feels like time is whispering around you. Then, at the end of a quiet hallway bathed in light, you see him. David, Michelangelo's masterpiece. He towers over the room, nearly 17 feet of marble brought to life, muscles carved like soft waves, eyes gazing into a distant future, sling in hand, calm, focused, ready to face the giant Goliath. You stop breathing for a moment. Though you've seen pictures before, nothing compares to standing in his presence. There's something in David's eyes that reflects your own journey. Brave, unsure, but standing tall. You read a quote in your guidebook. One Michelangelo is said to have written, "I saw the angel in the marble and carved until I set him free." And somehow, you understand, Florence isn't just a city of art. It's a place that reminds you of the beauty sleeping inside yourself. You leave the gallery and wander through the narrow, shaded streets. In Florence, every road eventually leads to the cathedral, Il Duomo, its red dome rising like a prayer into the sky. But you don't rush. You want to let it stay distant for now, glowing at the end of a street like a secret waiting to be found. Along the way, you pass flower stalls, vintage books on stone steps, and a man playing a mandolin under an arched doorway. His eyes are closed. He's playing for no one, or maybe for everyone. Each window here tells a quiet story. Some hang ivy and geraniums. Others display striped linens drying in the breeze. One opens slightly, revealing a pair of eyes watching the world go by. You find a tiny gelato shop near the Ponte Vecchio, the famous old bridge lined with goldsmiths and jewelry stores perched above the river like a row of enchanted birdhouses. You order a lemon gelato, cold, tangy, sweet as summer sunshine. The server smiles and says softly, "Amalfi lemons, the kind that never sleep." You smile back and lean on the stone wall of the bridge. Below, the Arno River drifts slowly, reflecting the last golden rays of day. Swifts soar above, bells chime in the distance, and the rooftops glow like warm clay. For a moment, Florence is not just beautiful, it's yours. As twilight arrives, you return to your small hotel, a room on the upper floor with a balcony facing the dome. You draw the curtains and open the glass door. The breeze wraps around you like a silk scarf. The scent of jasmine floats in from a neighbor's terrace. And there, just beyond your railing, rises the Duomo in full. Terracotta red, ornate and silent under the evening sky. You sip a glass of cool water, your fingers tracing the carved edge of the balcony. You close your eyes. The warmth of the sun still lingers on your cheeks. And in that stillness, something inside you whispers, "Tomorrow I'll go see the Duomo up close. But tonight, this is enough. Just me and Florence. And this quiet, beautiful moment I almost forgot how to find." Morning in Tuscany doesn't arrive with a shout. It comes softly, through birdsong, sunbeams on old stone walls, and the scent of fresh bread floating from distant kitchens. You wake in your room in Florence, still feeling the echo of David's eyes and the way the river caught the sunset last night. But today, something calls you further, a voice, gentle and green, whispering from the hills. So, you pack lightly, a notebook, a camera, a soft scarf for the breeze, and a heart ready to listen. You rent a small car, pale blue and humble, and ease out of the city along winding roads that curve like brush strokes. With each mile, Florence fades behind you. Not lost, just tucked safely into your memory. The world outside the window shifts. Buildings give way to olive trees, stone walls soften into golden fields, and the air becomes something sacred, clean, silent, alive. You drive slowly, windows down, letting the wind carry in the fragrance of time and sun-warmed earth. The sky is a soft, hazy blue, the kind that seems to remember every summer that ever was. You stop at a small overlook just outside the Chianti region. There's a bench, simple, wooden, weathered by decades of travelers like you who needed to pause. And when you sit down, you realize Tuscany doesn't just whisper, it listens. The hills roll like waves, green, gold, green again. Rows of vineyards stretch across the land like open arms. You see a castle in the distance, nestled in the folds of the earth, as if placed there by an artist who knew exactly where peace should live. A breath in, a breath out. You didn't know how much your soul needed this. After a long moment, you get back in the car and follow a dusty road lined with cypress trees. They stand like guardians, tall, quiet, and wise. Soon, you reach a village you never planned to find. It's small, sun-soaked, and timeless. Just a handful of stone houses with flower boxes in every window. An old man waves as you pass. A cat watches you from a terracotta roof. A child runs barefoot with a loaf of bread in hand. You stop at a tiny vineyard near the edge of town. There's a sign handwritten, "Wine and Stories." You smile. That's what you came for, isn't it? The owner is a woman in her 60s, her hair tied in a scarf the color of rosemary. She welcomes you with a glass of red wine and no questions, just presence. She leads you on a quiet tour of the vineyard. The grapes are nearly ripe, plump, sun-kissed, humming with promise. As you walk among the rows, she speaks softly about the land, how it forgives, how it remembers, how, in hard seasons, it teaches patience. You nod, understanding more than words could ever say. Inside the cool stone cellar, barrels line the walls like sleeping giants. The scent of oak and berries fills the air. She pours you a taste of something aged, a wine made by her grandfather's hands. You sip. It's bold, quiet, tender, like the land itself. There's a silence between you, but not the kind that asks for filling. It's the kind that heals. She tells you before you leave to stop by the castle at the top of the next hill. It's not on the map, she smiles, but it remembers every traveler. You thank her, heart full, and continue on. The road becomes narrow. Dust rises behind your wheels. Then suddenly, there it is, the castle. Modest, mossy, but standing proud against the sky. The gate is open, no guards, no fees, just a path that leads through olive groves to a wide, sunlit courtyard. You step inside. It's quiet, the kind of quiet that comes not from emptiness, but from presence. Birds sing, a breeze drifts. Somewhere, water flows. You sit on the warm stone steps and open your notebook. Words pour out, not planned, not perfect, but honest, about how the hills made you feel seen, how the wine tasted like forgiveness, how the silence here isn't empty. It's holy. Time slips. When the sun begins its descent, you walk the castle wall. From here, you can see everything: the fields, the forest, the shadows growing long and soft. You spot your car, tiny and patient, waiting below, and then you look up. The sky is beginning to blush. Pale gold fades to pink. Pink deepens into lavender. And in the distance, the first star opens its eyes. You whisper a thank you. To the earth, to the woman, to the road that brought you here. Driving back, you don't play music. You don't speak. You just listen. To the rhythm of the road, the pulse of your heart, the quiet joy rising in your chest like sunlight through vines. By the time you return to your room in Florence, the sky has turned navy blue. You pour yourself a glass of water, step out onto the balcony, and there, like a candle still burning, is the dome of the Duomo, watching over you. You take a deep breath and smile. Tuscany whispered, and you heard every word. Evening finds you in Rome, not with a rush, but a sigh, like the hush before a candle is lit, like the last page of a book you didn't want to end. The train had pulled into the city just before sunset, weaving you gently from olive hills into stone and shadow. And now, you find yourself seated at a quiet cafe table, just inside a Renaissance piazza where the cobblestones still remember ancient footsteps. In front of you, a small fountain, not grand, not loud, but whimsical. 4 bronze boys holding bronze turtles mid-air as if catching laughter in slow motion. The light glints off their arms, off the water, a kind of story without words. You sip something cold and sweet, a local drink, sparkling with herbs and lemon. The glass sweats gently in your hand. You don't rush it. This moment is not made for speed. Looking up, you feel it. The blue hour, that sacred sliver of twilight between sun and stars, when the sky deepens into a dream and every stone, every window, every whisper of wind feels touched by something eternal. Rome in the blue hour isn't loud. She doesn't need to be. She simply glows. You rise from your seat and stroll down a quiet lane, one of hundreds that branch off the piazza like threads of a tapestry. Each is narrow, winding, and textured with centuries. As you walk, warm light spills from apartment windows, brushing the walls with gold. You pass balconies draped with laundry, flower pots bursting with jasmine, and fading frescoes from another time. Somewhere above, a violin plays, one soft note at a time, practicing, remembering. The air is warm, but never heavy. Rome exhales into the dusk like a lullaby, an invitation to slow down and soften. You turn a corner and stop. There it is, Piazza Navona, oval-shaped like an embrace, lit from within by lamplight and voices. Locals wander slowly, arm in arm, gelato in hand. Children dance in circles near a marble fountain. Artists sketch, lovers lean in close, but your eyes are drawn to the center, to the masterpiece, the fountain of the 4 rivers, its water rising, crashing, falling like a song. 4 ancient gods gaze out over the square, carved from stone yet somehow alive. Above them, the obelisk points upward, slicing the deepening sky, and just beyond it, the moon, rising like a memory. You sit on a bench, letting it all wash over you, the voices, the water, the moonlight. A cool breeze touches your skin like the hem of a silk curtain. You think of how many feet have stood where you sit, Caesars, pilgrims, artists, ghosts, and now you. You're not just visiting Rome, you're being folded into her story. You wander again, through softer streets now, the crowds fading, the buildings lean gently in, and your footsteps feel like part of the city's breath. Above, the rooftops are lined with terracotta tiles, all glowing faintly in the dusk. Swifts spiral overhead in their evening dance, black silhouettes darting and dipping through the blue like musical notes. On a quiet wall, you pass a doorway framed in ivy. Someone has chalked a line of poetry there, half faded, half remembered. Here, where the past listens, the present learns to whisper. You pause and whisper back, "I hear you." Soon the winding street opens and the river finds you. The Tiber, silent and slow, like time melted into water. You lean on a stone railing, looking down at its glassy surface. In the middle of the river, a small island rests, Tiber Island, still and sacred. You watch as its trees sway, as if the island breathes with the rhythm of Rome. A narrow bridge carries you across, and at the far end, a line of lanterns flicker like fireflies. You follow them to the edge of the island, where a flight of steps leads down to the riverbank. You take them, one by one. The air is cooler now, the water louder. You find a small wooden chair tucked near the shore and sit. The stone is warm beneath your feet. The sky, nearly black, is dusted with stars. Across the river, Rome still glows. Not in neon, not in grandeur, but in the way old things glow when they've been loved for a long, long time. You close your eyes, and in that silence you feel it. Not a place, not a city, but a presence. Rome, not as history, but as heart. Not just what you see, but what you feel. And in that quiet, you rest. Tomorrow will bring more steps, more ruins, more stories. But tonight, Rome has wrapped her arms around you. And you, softly, slowly, let go of the world and drift. You awaken to softness, not the kind that startles, but the kind that welcomes. Your breath is calm, your body warm, and above you, the sky stretches wide, painted in soft blue, with clouds drifting like forgotten thoughts. You're not in Rome anymore. You're here, on a terrace above the sea, where the walls are kissed by sunlight and time, where nothing moves too fast, where the world, for once, waits for you. A linen curtain flutters gently in the doorway behind you, moved by the whisper of a sea breeze. It carries with it the faintest scent of jasmine and salt, a fragrance so delicate it almost feels like memory. You're seated in a woven deck chair, barefoot, cradled by afternoon warmth. The tiles beneath your feet are terracotta, sun-baked, soft-edged, and dappled with falling leaves. Here, everything feels older, wiser, slower. You stretch a little, arms reaching into the golden air. No urgency, just presence. You walk toward the low wall that lines the terrace and lean forward to gaze below. There, tucked beneath in the courtyard, a fountain trickles quietly. Not loud, not proud, just steady, like a lullaby carved in stone. A small dog pads across the garden, tail wagging as he nudges the basin. An old man follows behind, lifting the pup gently so he can drink. You smile, heart warm at the scene. One of those quiet, private joys that make you believe the world is still kind. Further along the courtyard, under a palm tree, a young girl sits cross-legged with a notebook in her lap. She draws, or maybe writes. Her hand moves as if it knows something her mind hasn't yet put into words. Above her, a woman leans from a window, hanging laundry on a line, white sheets that catch the sun like sails in the wind. They billow and snap, and for a moment, you could almost believe the building itself might drift away across the sea. These are lives lived in peace, in rhythm, in sunlight, and somehow you've stepped into them, not as a guest, but as a gentle part of their day. You look up and let the breeze move through your hair. It smells like lemons, like rosemary, like home. All around the terrace are pots of green, herbs in clay, a lemon tree heavy with fruit, and a tangle of jasmine that spills over a stone trellis. The blossoms look like stars trying to fall back to earth. You cross to the tree, reach up, and gently run your hand along one of the lemons. Its skin is textured, warm from the sun. You press your thumb to it, inhale the scent, sharp, sweet, utterly alive. Beneath it sits a watering can, half full from yesterday's use. Something inside you stirs. You lift it, slowly, and begin to water the plants. Each one receives your attention. The basil, the thyme, the loquat tree with its tiny golden fruits. You pause there, pick one, and rinse it under the tap near the terrace wall. As you bite, the flavor surprises you. Soft and floral, like peach mixed with honey, kissed with Mediterranean light. And just for a moment you feel rich, not in money, but in being. A few petals have fallen across the tiles. You fetch a small broom and begin to sweep them gently aside. Back and forth, the motion becomes a meditation. Each sweep like a line of poetry, each breath a blessing. When you look up again, the sky has changed, no longer blue, but the color of ripe apricots. Sunset is coming. You shift the chair toward the view and sit again. Beyond the rooftops, through slender palms, you see the Mediterranean, flat, endless, and shimmering. It doesn't crash or roar, it breathes. A lone gull drifts across the sky, silent. The sea responds with a shimmer of light. You tilt your face toward the sun, you close your eyes, and the world disappears. For a while, it's just warmth, wind, and wonder. Somewhere, a piano plays, soft, halting notes, like a lullaby learning itself. You picture a child practicing, or an old soul remembering a song, and then you hear it. Purring, a soft sound at your side. You open your eyes and find a Siamese cat curling beside your legs. He looks at you like an old friend, as if he's been waiting for you to sit still long enough to find him. You reach down, stroke the back of his neck. He presses closer, and just like that, you're no longer alone. The stars appear, slowly, one by one. No hurry, no noise. The moon is rising too, delicate, quiet, and full of stories. You're not thinking of Rome anymore, not even of the train. You're not thinking at all. You're just here, with the sky, the sea, the breath of flowers, the hum of the world. And in this perfect golden hush, you forget everything else. The cat is asleep now, his breathing slow and even, chest rising and falling in quiet time with yours. His warmth rests on your legs like a soft weight, anchoring you to the present, keeping you from drifting too far into thought. Not that your thoughts are loud tonight. In fact, everything, mind, body, world, feels as if it's slowing together. Even the sea seems to hush its tides, settling beneath the sky like a child tucked in with stars. You gaze upward. The sky above the Mediterranean is vast, wider than you remember skies being. There are no buildings here to block it, no bright city lights to compete with it, just moonlight and stars. So many stars, they don't blink or flare. They shimmer like tiny notes in a lullaby only your soul can hear. Some are bright, sharp, others are soft and distant, as if watching from another time. You let your head fall back on the deck chair and exhale deeply. That kind of sigh that empties you out, but leaves you full at the same time. What is it about the sea at night? It makes you feel small, but not in the way that frightens. More like humble, sacred, seen. Out past the terrace, the Mediterranean stretches to the horizon. In the daylight, it shimmers green and silver. But now, under the moon, it's become velvet, deep blue. Still, the kind of stillness that echoes. You can almost hear it speaking. A whisper older than cities, a voice softer than sleep. The waves don't crash, they kiss the shore, barely, gently, as if they too are afraid to disturb the quiet. You close your eyes, and in that moment, you're floating again. Not just in imagination, no, something deeper, as if your soul has loosened from your skin, just a little, just enough to drift. You imagine yourself lying on the sea, arms spread wide, body weightless, half of you warmed by moonlight, half cooled by water, completely held. The wind rustles nearby, through jasmine vines, across terracotta rooftops, through a neighbor's curtain that flutters like a ghost of morning past. And in it, you hear music. That soft piano again, a melody with no end, no beginning. It plays like memory or prayer. The cat stirs but does not wake. You pet his back gently, fingers tracing the rhythm of sleep. You wonder, idly, how long you've been here. But the question floats away. Time is not measured on terraces like this, not in minutes, only in sensations. A lemon's perfume, a star's silence, a purring cat and a lullaby of waves. Somewhere beyond the rooftops, a bell tolls once, a distant church tower acknowledging the hour, not to warn or to rush, but to bless. One soft chime, like a reminder. This night is real. You are here. You feel the pull of sleep begin to gather. It doesn't come suddenly. It tiptoes. It settles first in your fingers, your shoulders, then spreads like warmth into your spine, your breath, your thoughts. You rise gently, cradling the cat in your arms. He yawns, his mouth a small, silent O, then curls again in the chair as you set him down. You step inside the room. The light here is golden, dim, glowing softly against stone walls and a wooden-beamed ceiling. The air smells faintly of lavender and clean linen. A glass of water waits on the bedside table. Your bed has already turned down its covers for you, as if it too has been waiting. You move toward it like you're entering a dream. As you lie down, your body sinks into the mattress. The sheets cool at first, then warm with your breath. You pull the blanket to your chin, one arm beneath the pillow, the other resting loosely across your chest. Your eyelids flutter. In the distance, waves hush the edges of thought. Somewhere, a shutter creaks. A dog barks softly. The wind hushes it all. And then, you dream. But it is not a dream of images. It is a dream of feelings, of peace, of presence, of knowing that you are enough, that here, in this quiet place between sea and sky, you have no role to play, no expectations, only the sacred act of rest. The moon watches, the stars keep their silence, and the sea rocks you to sleep. You wake slowly, not from noise, not from alarms or footsteps or the chatter of the world, but from something quieter, light, the kind of light that seeps in gently through a linen curtain, the kind that warms the air before it warms the skin. It comes not to rouse you, but to join you, to sit beside your sleep like an old friend and say, "Whenever you're ready." You blink once, twice, and then you smile because you remember the terrace, the sea, the cat who curled up on your legs like a small son. You listen. There's no rush in the world outside, no hurried cars, no beeping machines, only a soft rhythm, birdsong and breeze. Somewhere below, in the courtyard, water trickles from the fountain. You imagine it falling over stone like a whisper repeating itself, just like last night. Only now the air smells different, richer. Morning has arrived in full bloom. You stretch beneath the blanket. Your arms reach out slowly. Your toes point just enough. No sudden movements. This is not a world made for rushing. Not today, not here. You sit up and walk toward the glass door. The cat is gone now. Probably climbed down the roof and slipped through a neighbor's window like a shadow that only visits when needed. You miss him, but you understand. Creatures like that belong to no one. You open the door and step out. The terrace is golden. Everything, tiles, pots, leaves, is bathed in the soft, buttery glow of the early sun. Even the shadows are gentle, stretched long but faint, like they're still waking up. Your plants greet you. The loquat tree stands proud, its golden fruit catching the light like polished stones. The lemon tree has one new blossom, a single white star. The herbs, too, shimmer with dew. You water nothing this morning. You simply notice. You walk barefoot toward the edge of the terrace. The cool tile against your feet feels grounding, like a quiet reminder. You are here. You lean on the low wall and look out over the rooftops, the sea. It's back. It never left, of course. But now, in daylight, it feels closer. Its colors have changed again. Moss green near the shore, sapphire in the distance. A few white sails glide across it like thoughts you forgot to think. The breeze carries scents you hadn't noticed before. Tomatoes ripening in a window garden, fresh espresso from somewhere close by, warm bread, olive oil, lemon zest. Your stomach stirs gently. You take it as a sign. But breakfast can wait a little longer. You decide to get dressed. Back inside, you move slowly, choosing a soft cotton shirt and loose pants. Nothing too tight. Nothing that suggests the day has demands. You splash your face with water, run your fingers through your hair, and pause a moment in the mirror. You look rested, but more than that, you look open. You head downstairs through the quiet building. The stairwell is cool and smells faintly of stone and rosemary. On the second floor, a window is open, and you hear someone humming. A woman's voice, slow and steady. The melody is unfamiliar, but it soothes something in you. When you reach the courtyard, the light is different again. It's brighter now, playful. A small dog runs in a circle around the fountain, its leash dragging behind. A child giggles from somewhere you can't see. On a nearby bench, an old man is eating a peach, the juice dripping down his wrist. He doesn't wipe it away. You smile at him. He nods. That's all. You step through the arched gate and into the quiet street. The world is awake, but not loud. The shops are just opening. A woman sweeps her front step. A young man adjusts the chairs outside his cafe. Buongiorno, he calls softly. You reply the same. You walk until you find the cafe with the blue shutters, the one that overlooks the curve of the sea. You sit at a table in the shade. The tablecloth is white linen. A small vase of rosemary sits at the center. The waiter appears without you needing to ask. He sets down a warm croissant and a small cup of cappuccino. Un regalo, he says, a gift. You nod gratefully. The coffee is hot, creamy, with just the right amount of foam. The croissant flakes perfectly as you break it apart. The first bite is sweet, buttery, and somehow healing. You eat slowly, sip slowly, watch slowly. Across the bay, a fishing boat moves out toward deeper water. Above, the sky is a perfect pale blue. Nothing demands your attention, but everything offers it. You feel no need to photograph this moment, no urge to capture it, because you know this is not a scene to take with you. It is a scene to become. The quiet sea, the warm bread, the sun on the tops of your hands, the memory of a cat sleeping on your legs, the kind of morning that asks for nothing, but gives everything. And for once, you let it. Evening arrives like a secret, not announced, not loud, but in whispers, of lavender light, of softening breeze, of time itself slowing its stride. You're back on the terrace now, not because there was a plan, not because the day required it, but because your heart brought you here. As if something inside you knew this was where the story wanted to end. The sky is beginning to turn. A pale amber melts into peach, then rose, then violet, You watch it happen, second by second, like someone slowly closing the curtains on the world. Below, the sea stretches out into forever. It's darker now, no longer the bright mirror of the morning, but a deeper blue, like velvet ink. It holds the day's secrets gently, as if gathering them all and whispering, "I'll keep them safe." You sit in the same chair, the one that welcomed your body like memory. The lemon tree beside you leans slightly in the wind, its leaves rustling like lullabies. A few stars have already arrived, timid and trembling in the fading light, unsure if it's time to shine just yet. And then, you hear it, the piano. Soft, hesitant notes drifting from one of the apartments nearby. Not a performance, not a song, just a wandering, a melody searching for something and somehow finding you. You close your eyes. Each note lands like a drop of rain on still water. Ripple by ripple, the quiet expands. You breathe it in, like jasmine, like night itself, and with every breath, you feel more and more here. The door behind you creaks slightly. You turn and smile. It's the cat, the same one from the night before, now returning as if to check in on you. He walks across the tiles like a king with no kingdom, just presence. He rubs against your leg, then settles nearby, paws tucked, eyes half closed. "Good evening," you whisper. He doesn't answer. He doesn't need to. His company is its own reply. You gaze out once more. The sea has shifted again, now indigo, now silver-tipped, now disappearing into the horizon. Somewhere, waves meet rocks in soft collision. That timeless rhythm, always arriving, always leaving, just like today. You think back, not in sharp images, but in feelings. The sound of sandals on warm tile, the scent of rosemary and espresso, the laughter of strangers who felt like neighbors, the sweetness of lemon gelato melting too fast under the sun, and beneath it all, a sense of permission. Permission to rest, to notice, to be. The wind changes, cooler now. It moves through your hair like memory. You pull a light shawl over your shoulders and lean back further. A church bell tolls in the distance. One soft chime, then another, then silence. The world doesn't rush to answer. It just listens. You do too. To the tiny crackle of candlelight, to the sigh of leaves, to the breath of the night. And for a moment, you don't think, you feel. Not what's next, not where do I go from here. Just this stillness, this sky, this music, this life. You look at the cat. He's watching the stars now. Or maybe not. Maybe he's just resting his eyes where the beauty is. Either way, you understand. You sit in silence together. Two souls not needing anything more. Eventually, you rise. Not because the moment has ended, but because you feel full. Like your spirit has eaten something nourishing. You step inside the apartment, quietly, not to disturb the hush outside. You pour yourself a cup of warm tea, chamomile with a slice of lemon from your own tree. Its fragrance wraps around you like a memory you never want to forget. You bring it back out and cradle it with both hands. The stars are out in full now. The moon hangs low and generous. You take a sip. The tea tastes like peace. Software steady. Familiar. You glance down at the courtyard. A single light glows in one of the windows. A silhouette of a woman brushing her hair. A child's toy forgotten on the fountain's edge. A clothesline swaying, empty now but still dancing in the breeze. The cat stands and stretches. He walks over, rubs his head once against your ankle, and then, like mist, vanishes into the dark. You smile. Of course he leaves. All visitors do. Even moments, even days. But some things stay. The feeling, the light, the you that has been softened, stretched, quieted by this place. And so you sit one last time, facing the sea, holding the cup, breathing, being. There is no grand farewell, no final phrase to tie it all together, only this breath, and this one, and this one. The evening doesn't ask questions, it only listens. And now, so do you. And now, the night has fallen. The soft orange rooftops of Rome have disappeared beneath the silver moonlight. On the terrace, the little cat still sleeps peacefully on the chair you just left. Everything remains. The sea breeze, the gentle piano melody, the scent of jasmine drifting across ancient Italian steppes. And you're drifting now through layers of dreams where time no longer matters. Sleep deeply tonight, and if you find yourself walking the narrow alleys of Florence, or sitting by Lake Garda in the hush of morning mist, then perhaps you've found your way back to dreamland. Double asterisk